You know, it's crazy when you think about how much money shapes our politics these days.
Oh, absolutely. It's like every policy is up for sale.
Yeah, and the whole lobbying system just
Mm-hmm.
amplifies that, doesn't it?
Definitely. So, what exactly is lobbying again?
Well, um, lobbying is basically when individuals or groups try to influence government officials to support specific laws or policies. Exactly. They meet with lawmakers, provide research reports, and
Yeah.
sometimes make campaign donations to persuade them.
But isn't that kind of like, legal bribery?
Well, some people see it that way. I mean, there are pros and cons.
Like what?
On the plus side, lobbyists can provide expert knowledge to lawmakers and
Right.
represent diverse interest groups.
But on the flip side, it gives wealthier groups more power than ordinary citizens.
Exactly. And that can lead to corruption and backroom deals, which isn't great for democracy.
Yeah, it often feels like corporate interests are prioritized over public needs.
That's a big concern. And then you have campaign contributions and super PACs funneling huge amounts of money into elections.
Oh, super PACs, those allow unlimited spending, right?
Yes. So wealthy donors can fund attack ads and media campaigns influencing
Yep.
elections heavily.
Doesn't that create a sort of pay-to-play scenario?
Yeah, it does. Donors might expect favors in return,
Right.
which undermines the whole democratic process.
It's disheartening. It makes it hard for average citizens to run for office.
Absolutely. And then there's the revolving door between politics and business.
What's that about again?
It's when former government officials become lobbyists or corporate consultants after leaving office. Exactly. It's like they serve in government and then use that experience to influence policies in favor of businesses.
That's kind of sketchy, don't you think?
It can be. While they bring valuable experience, it can lead to corruption and favoritism.
Feels like government policies end up benefiting corporations more than citizens.
That's a major criticism. Take the pharmaceutical industry, for example.
Yeah, they spend millions lobbying Congress, right?
Exactly. They push for drug patents and higher medication prices, which isn't always in the public's best interest.
And what about the oil and gas companies opposing climate regulations?
Yep, they lobby heavily to prevent policies that would address climate change.
It's frustrating. But aren't there also special interest groups fighting for good causes?
Oh, definitely. Groups like the ACLU fight for civil rights,
Right.
and the Sierra Club supports environmental policies.
So lobbying isn't all bad then?
No, it's not. It gives a voice to underrepresented groups and helps shape social justice policies.
But sometimes these groups can push extreme agendas too.
That's true. It's a double-edged sword. And then there's the issue of dark money in politics.
Dark money, what's that?
It's when donations hide the identity of donors using non-profit groups.
So people can influence elections without anyone knowing who they are?
Exactly. Super PACs and certain non-profits allow this kind of anonymous funding.
That doesn't sound good for transparency.
No, it's not. It can lead to corruption since politicians may serve donors instead of voters.
Right, lack of transparency is a big problem.
Agreed. There have been some laws to address these issues, like the Federal Election Campaign Act and the Lobbying Disclosure Act.
But do they really help?
Well, they aim to increase transparency and prevent illegal financing, but there are still loopholes.
Seems like big donors still find ways around the laws.
Exactly. Which raises the question, can we actually reduce money's influence in politics?
Maybe with public funding of elections?
That's one idea. Candidates would get government funding instead of relying on private donors.
That could level the playing field.
Yeah, and campaign finance reform with stricter limits on donations could help too.
But would those reforms really work?
It's hard to say. Money often finds a way around regulations, so it's a
Yeah.
complex issue.
Maybe banning the revolving door between politics and lobbying could make a difference.
Perhaps. Preventing former officials from immediately becoming lobbyists might reduce corruption.
It's worth considering. But implementing these changes won't be easy.
No, it won't. There's a lot at stake for those benefiting from the current system.
True. So where does that leave us?
Well, it's up to us as citizens to stay informed and push for transparency and accountability in our political system.
Agreed. We need to advocate for reforms that truly represent the people's interests.
Exactly. Democracy should serve everyone, not just those with the deepest pockets.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, let's keep the conversation going and encourage others to get involved.
Absolutely. Change starts with awareness and action.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for diving into this topic with me.
Thank you. It was a great discussion.